And there's my dog on cue. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Midwest Stitches channel. My name is Danielle and this is my channel all about my crafty things. Today's episode 33. It is Friday, June 16th, 2023. And today we have just a few things to go over, not much in the way of projects. I have a shop update to tell you about and a little bit of mail. So let's get into it. You can find all of my social media links to include Ravelry in the description box below. And if you just click the little arrow, and that'll have any show notes or shops linked that I talk about as well. Okay, so for finished objects, let's just get into that. First I want to say I finished blocking my cowl. I will show this first. I did wet block this and I pinned it out. So here's the seam right here. You can see that I pinned it out, made these indentations a little less prominent, and I really like it. Blocking really softened up the yarn as it does, and I got about 3 extra inches of length. So it is still snug, but it's not as snug. So there, it's not as tight around my neck, and I really love it. So this is officially finished, as in blocked, ready to go. So I will have this to wear when winter rolls around, which will be here before you know it, which is crazy. So I will put this away with my winter stuff, and when I start wearing it in the winter, I will let you know how it works with the grainy stitch with the holes and stuff, if there's any kind of like cold wind whipping through it or anything like that. So yeah, love that. And my only finished object for this episode is already out in the mail. It is the socks for my grandpa, or Papa as we call him in my family. I will put a picture up here so you can see what they look like all finished. I knit these on 2.25 millimeter needles, 64 stitches. I did 20 rounds for the cuff and 40 rounds for the leg, heel, flap, and gusset. And these took me a little bit longer to knit for a few reasons. One, he wears a size 11 shoe, so there was a little bit more knitting on the foot than I normally have to do for other socks. And last weekend and this week, I think because I was doing some kind of aggressive cleaning in my house, I had a lot of hand, arm, and wrist pain. It wasn't just my wrist this time, like all the muscles in the palm of my hand were hurting. It was just, yeah, I had to do a lot of massaging, icing, all that kind of stuff for about 2 days. So we're good now. But that was just, I think, my body's way of saying it's time to pump the brakes, take a break, and just let it rest. And we should always listen to those physical cues, you know, to take those breaks and stretch and do all that kind of stuff. I'm not as good about doing that as I should be, but that was kind of my body's way of telling me to take a step back for just a bit. Okay, so that's it for finished objects. So for whips, I only did like 2 rows on my Hocus Pocus shawl. So I'm not going to show that until I have a little bit more progress to really see a difference. And that was mostly because of the arm pain and hand pain that I had. It hurt more to crochet than it did to knit, just because of the motion that your hand and wrist does. So not really much to show there. So I started a new sock project. I'll give you the details in just a second. And I pulled out my summer sock camp bag from last year that the Crazy Sock Lady had exclusively in her shop. I still love these half and half bags. I have a few of these that I made for myself. I don't really think I ever sold them in the shop. I had a couple bags I think I sold, but I don't know how popular these all sold out in her shop, obviously, but like for me, I don't know how people would like this style. I like it. I think it's fun to mix two prints that are similarly themed or whatever, but that's just me. And it's a way to use up scraps and not waste. So anyway, I started a new sock project, and here's the yarn. These are some scraps. This is just a leftover skein I have. This is Area 51 Fibers May Daisies. And this is kind of a, I guess I want to call it like a sock sample or whatever. I am trying out for the first time. I'm going to do an afterthought heel. So I've placed my markers. And I'm really excited about this. A couple of weeks ago, I kind of got it in my brain that I wanted to do an afterthought heel. I just started seeing videos for it out of nowhere. And I thought, you know, that might be kind of fun. I haven't tried that before. Let me pull out some of my scraps and see how it fits me. Because on videos that I've watched on afterthought heels or people that post about them on like Instagram or whatever, most of the time I only hear people say how it doesn't fit them that great and they have to make adjustments, this, that, and the other. I've never really seen anyone talk about how they like the fit of an afterthought heel or someone that, you know, does that on the regular. I know 72 Stitches on Instagram, and I think her podcast is Knit All the Yarn. I watch her videos every once in a while. She only knits afterthought heels for every pair, but I've never seen people like actually like wear it on their foot, talk about the fit, you know, what kind of fit they have, blah, blah, blah. So I thought I'll just give it a try. This isn't yarn that I was planning on knitting other socks with. I was just going to throw it into a scrap blanket. So I figured let's use this yarn before I dig into like fresh yarn, if you will, to try this technique out. So I'm actually going to do 2 different kinds of afterthought heels, and when I get those done, hopefully by the next time I record next week, I will have both of them done and I can report back on the 2 types that I did and how they fit, etc. So there's that. And that's it for projects. I am wanting to start other projects. I really want to start that knitted tank top that I showed. But I think I'm just going to wait a bit. I need to look at the pattern again because I don't think I have the right needles sizes for it, even though I normally go down a needle size because I know that I knit a little bit looser. But I don't think I even have those needle tips. So I need to look at it again so that I can do a swatch. I might not even swatch. Who knows? I might just go for it and just run like the wind with it. Anyway, so that leads us into mail. So I got my Freckled Whimsy June yarn of the month. This is called Social Butterfly. And it's got like some mustardy green in there, blue, pink. So this will actually be the last month that you see the Freckled Whimsy subscription yarn on my channel because I decided to cancel the membership, which if you remember was a gift from Adrian at Christmas. This is what I asked for. So I've gotten this for 6 months now, and I've just decided that for me personally, I would much rather see the colors of what I'm buying, whether it's speckled, tonal, variegated, self-striping, whatever. I would rather see the colors that I'm buying and decide from there. Because this is a complete mystery. I know like Yarnable, the Daisy Stitch Co. box, you can see sneak peeks of what you're buying in advance and decide whether or not you want that particular subscription that month. She does not offer that, obviously. This is a complete surprise when you get it. And this is nothing on her. I just want to say that. This is nothing on Freckled Whimsy's dyeing or the colors she picks or whatever. I love her yarn. It is a self-striping 75/25. And some of the colors I've gotten, they're not really my preference or my taste. And so I would just rather, you know, when she comes out, because she does release stuff besides just mystery subscriptions, I would just rather look at what she has and buy the ones that appeal to me. So that's what I will be doing going forward if I see something she has that piques my interest. I already know one off the top of my head, which will be closer to winter or December. I think it's called Peppermint Mocha. Maybe. I don't remember. But it's got some solid stripes and some speckled stripes in there, and it's really, really pretty, and I saw it last year and I didn't buy it, and I wish I would have. So I know this year if she does it again, I am going to buy a skein of it because I really like the way that it looks. So there's that one. And I bought all of this breaking yarn. So I got 3 skeins of gray matter, which I love because it's not a completely solid gray. If you can see there, it has some lighter gray bits. It's not just basically one color. So I got that. I got 2 full skeins of Lily of the Valley and then 3 minis. I only bought the 3 minis because she only had 2 full skeins. I was going to buy 3, but she only had 2. So I bought 3 20-gram minis to have. And then I got 2 Jane Margolis, and these are all in her 75-25 sock fingering. And then she had this, I don't know how many skeins of this she had, but she did have some. This is called Bleeding Walt. And this is a special kind of Christmassy colorway that someone had requested a couple years back, I think is what she said. And so last year she had some dyed up, and I think this was left over. And it's got Bleeding Out, Walter White, and then there's like a mix of the colors here in the middle. And this is going to be for a Christmas gift. So the reason I bought all of these is because I don't have very many tonals in my collection, like neutrals that I can pair for like heels, toes, and cuffs, or when I get into garments, you might, like the collar or the cuffs or the hem, if you want something of a different color for those, I wanted those options, but mostly for socks because I do have some leftovers that I've been pulling out and weighing, and they're just shy of the amount I could use to make a pair of socks either for myself or for a gift. And, I could put those into a blanket, but it'd be nice to make something else and just have a few scraps perhaps instead of like just huge like half skeins left. So that was my intention in buying that, is to have these around when I wanted something neutral to throw in with a scrap. I have it on hand and it's ready to go. So that's why I bought all of that to have in my collection. I think the only tonals I have are some mini skeins, but they are mini skeins, like a set that goes together, and I have other plans for those. So they're not like a full skein of gray or whatever. So speaking of that, one of the reasons I bought some of the Lily of the Valley especially, so these 2, I'm going to I wanted them for a project to go with this mini skein set. This I bought 2 years ago. It's still in the packaging. It's from a Molly Klein design, or Sweet Tea Yarns, and it was a mystery mini skein set based off of Beauty and the Beast. So it starts here. This is, Belle, Beast, blah, blah, blah. They're all the names are at the bottom. You can see there. And so I thought these would look really good together as a wallop cowl. I'm going to try the wallop cowl again soon. And I figured I could stripe in the Lily of the Valley with the mini skeins. I would do like 1 mini skein, do the same amount of rounds in the Lily of the Valley, go into the next one, etc. And I know what I'm going to do different this time. I think the reason I didn't like that pattern before, and I thought a lot about this, it wasn't working out the way I wanted to with the yarn. That was the first thing. The second thing, I think, which was probably bigger than the first one, is the provisional cast on. I'm new to that, and while I'm all about learning new techniques and stuff, it's just from the videos that I watched, having to go back and pick up the stitches and pick out the provisional cast on, I was like, there has to be perhaps an easier way to do this. So, I mean, it occurred to me one day, I was like, duh, I can cast on, just regular, with a long tail cast on or whatever you use, and do that with a completely different color. Do like 5, 10 rounds, something like that. Just something to get you started. then start in with my colors, go to the end, and then when I need to go back and pick up stitches for the other side, instead of taking out a provisional cast on, I can just put my second set of needles into the stitches, the first row of the colors I was using, and just cut out basically the waste yarn, if you will. I know that might sound wasteful to do more than just provisional cast on with waste yarn, but to me that sounds a lot easier to be able to go in and pick up the stitches rather than the provisional cast on. But that's just me. So that was kind of my way of, you know, getting around that part of it that I didn't like the last time. So there's that. I'm excited. I'm probably going to cast that on in the fall. I think that will be a fall project for me. Hopefully, if I finish my Hocus Pocus shawl, that'll be kind of like the carrot, if you will, to cast that on, because I think that will look so beautiful as a wallop cowl. It will be a nice neutral, kind of lighter toned cowl as opposed to my other one that's dark and very colorful and kind of the complete opposite of that. So I'm excited about that. And the last thing that I wanted to show that I bought this yesterday, and it is this three mini pack set of Liquid Stitch. Oh, focus. Maybe not. So I got this from Joann's yesterday. I was looking for the big bottle of Liquid Stitch because I wanted to use it for my magic knots in my blankets. And I was looking around. I didn't find the big bottles. But I did find this 3-pack, which I kind of like better. So they're this big. Oh. They're this big. So they're teeny tiny. I mean, you don't need a whole lot from what I understand. You just need a tiny little bit to put on the magic knot to help it be more secure. And these are the perfect size for project bags. So I have like 2 or 3 granny stripe or granny square blankets going right now that I've magic knotted. And instead of having one big bottle that you have to go and search for, I could put one of these in each bag. And I love that. And of course I love small size of anything. It just, you know, like if you wanted to travel around with it, or not that I'm traveling with my blankets, but you know what I mean? Like to have it around in a smaller tube, I just like that better. So if you have been looking for Liquid Stitch and you didn't like, because it would be the big bottle, you can get these little teeny tiny ones. And I love anything mini size. I'm a sucker. Put it in a mini size, whatever it is, and I'll buy it. So there's that. That's it for mail. Okay, so the last thing I wanted to talk about, I just wanted to highlight some podcasts that I've been watching lately. This is not the last thing. That's not right. I'll have shop news at the end. So some podcasts that I wanted to talk about and just highlight that I've been watching more lately. I have my staples, you know, Breaking Yarn, Granite State Yarns, The Crazy Sock Lady, Sock Witchery, Earth Tones Girl, Stitching the High Notes. I'm just thinking of a few off the top of my head. There's more than that, but those are kind of like the ones that I watch all the time. I watch their episodes, etc. But there are obviously more. Anyway, Wool Needles Hands is the first one. Taylor is the host of that one. She has 2 episodes a week, a podcast on Sunday, and on Wednesday she hosts what she calls the Midweek Ramble. Love her channel. If you don't watch her, you need to. She's amazing. I just love the vibe, the style of her channel, and her content. Yeah. That's really all. I'll just, you know, give that short little bit there. So if you want, you should go check her out. She's got some really good content on her channel. The second one is Denim and Rain, and I, for the life of me, cannot remember her name off the top of my head. But that's her name on YouTube, Denim and Rain. And she's kind of got the same vibe or aesthetic and feel as Wool Needles Hands. Her content's kind of different from what other people I watch on YouTube. You know, there's a lot of garments and a little bit of a crochet, and she does some vlogs and that kind of stuff. So definitely check her out too. And then the third one, if you are looking for crochet content, Evelyn and Peter. I have been obsessed with watching her videos for the last like 2 months. She has so she doesn't post, she's not a podcaster, but she's a crochet tutorial channel. Free crochet tutorials. So she partners with Lion Brand a lot for her patterns. And so obviously it's affordable. It's an affordable, mostly garments. She has some, but she does have some bags, accessories, all kinds of things. But her garments are so cute. And depending on what yarn you use, they will have a very kind of boho type theme, depending on what colors you use. Or you can just use neutrals, and they're very wearable, very cute. I already have a lot in my mental queue to make. So definitely check her out. And her tutorials are free on YouTube, obviously. And then the patterns are free on her blog, or you can buy the PDF. So you don't have to go through all the ads on her, her blog. But I don't see that as a deal breaker for me. So I just wanted to highlight those couple of channels that I've really been loving lately and loving their content, and thought I would share them with you all. So the last thing I want to talk about is a little bit of shop news. So hopefully next week, I'm shooting for next Friday, but that's adjustable. I'm going to have some in-stock bags, some ready to ship. There's going to be 3 different kinds, and then kind of some onesie twosies from scraps that I had in there. And hopefully I will make a video and I will show you next week when I hopefully do another podcast before I release those. So there's going to be that. And they're not quite done yet. So I have a big pile next to me here and on the table that I'm working through right now to get sewn up. The other thing that I'm going to be putting in the shop, this is going to be brand new, is these. My laminated heel flap row counters. So I've talked about these before and shown these, and how I have said that these are my favorite Notion that I use. The one I use most, more than light bulb stitch markers or closed stitch markers or anything like that. Besides yarn and needles, these are my most used Notion. If you're a type A personality like me, or you have problems with your heel flap and thinking you didn't do the right amount of rows, etc., this is going to be the tool for you. It's laminated, like I said, so you can use a dry erase marker and just, I think water or wet erase marker, whatever those are called. You can use those, use water, and it'll come right off. I use a Sharpie, and for the first sock, I check off the box. The second sock, I cross out the number. That way I don't have to clean it before I do the second one. And then once I'm done with the pair, then we're good. And I use a Sharpie, and you just use rubbing alcohol on it with like a tissue or something like that, and it'll come right off every time, and it's reusable. You can use it over and over and over again, and I love that, of course. So I'm not having to fuss with pens and pencils and paper and notebooks and writing out the numbers all of the time. This is just so much more convenient for me. And obviously it's small, so it can fit in any project bag that you have. So yeah, I'm excited. I had a comment, someone asking me on an older video if I offered those, and they didn't see them in my shop. And I never did offer them in the shop, but I thought now's a perfect time. I'll just make up about 20 of them and throw them in the shop, and those are going to be for $1, so you can just basically throw that in your cart with an order of something else if you want. And it's a Notion that you can use over and over again. I have about 4 of them myself that I use. And there's my dog on cue. So yeah, look for those. Those will be in the shop update as well. Yeah, I will definitely let you know when that update is going to happen. I'm shooting, like I said, for next Friday, but we'll see how things progress with production. Oh, and these will all be drawstring bags that I'm releasing. That's for a couple of reasons. One, I think this is the aesthetic of the fabrics. They will look cutest, I guess, as drawstring bags, and for ease of making for me for right now. So, and I will have next month, I will have a ready to ship update of the summer bags that I offered, the sock size ones, the Sock Madness, Toasted, and Knit All the Socks bags. I will have a few of each style available, but those won't be until next month. So if you were looking for those, they're still coming. I'm just working on these first because they're kind of themed for June, July type stuff. So I want to get them out soon. Yeah, I think that's it for today. A pretty quick rundown of everything that's going on right now. So thank you guys so much for watching. Like, subscribe, and leave me a comment down below what you're looking forward to, what you're working on right now, anything you want to tell me. Talk to me in the comments, and I will see you guys next time. Take care. God bless. Bye.